Hey guys, welcome to Solar Icons Fireside Chat. We're going to do things a little special today. We're going to talk about some of our gains and our team. There's nobody that comes in our group that's left on an island. We're all interacting, collaborating together. Share your wins here today. We'd love to hear some of those. If there's anything that's a pressing issue for you, we'd like to workshop that together, tap into the collective genius of our group, and let's solve the issues. Let's celebrate each other. Anyone have any shout outs they'd like to give starting the day off today?
I'd like to go first. First, I want to shout out to Jim starting this call off today. That's a new switch for me, man. Also, as per my conversation with my earlier call last week with Chris Hart, I have started my tier 2 training.
Awesome, man. Awesome. In the big money time, in the big money zone there.
True.
I'll give a shout out. Here he is, Mr. Malcolm, who is uploading his first 2 bills today.
Yeah.
Good job, brother, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Malcolm.
Woo, woo.
The hoop.
All right, I'll jump in there. I gotta have a little fun too. I got a few. I don't see him on here, but I want to give a huge shout out to my man Joe, Solar Pro in Virginia, that came onto the team about a week ago. He's our newest tier 2. Just got his second deal of the week signed last night. So he's off to an incredible start. He has a team of, I think, 6 now, all Solar Pros as well. So he's killing it. Want to give a big shout out to my girl, Dana. Got her first deal officially signed yesterday, which is awesome. This is someone we thought was going to take a little bit more time to review things, but no, she was able to get her over the hump. It's got a killer deal. She's going to have her second deal. I'm going to put pressure on her signed in the next few days. We already did a presentation on that one, so that's exciting. I want to give Maureen a shout out for always bringing it, always killing it, always sending us copies of her presentations. She's on a roll. I think she got 2 signed in the last 3 or 4 days, maybe even a third now. Absolutely killing it and leading from the front. I want to give a shout out to Mitch for getting a new seller signed in the last 2 days. Congrats to you, sir. Also, I'll give you a shout out for the weight loss. I don't know the exact number, man, but you look fantastic. So great job.
It's about 35 pounds.
But who's counting? No, congrats, man. You deserve it.
And I have a sale today. A 1.6 kilowatt system in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Congrats, man.
Good job. I'll throw one out there for my man Jim, out there building like a madman in Arizona. Man, that team is just growing like wildfire. So kudos to Terry for supporting him and Jim leading that charge with his brand new team. I mean, these guys are only a couple weeks old, and Jim, I think you're down into what, level 4 or 5 now?
Level 4. Yeah, I'm doing 3 calls for level 5 already.
Yeah, that's solid. So great job with that, man. And that's
way to build.
The process of duplication is a reflection of leadership. So great job to you, Jim. Great job to Terry for help supporting that.
Yeah, thank you for that support. Your guys' supports, I can't really appraise it because it's going to pay forever as long as we're aligned with you guys. But you guys have been tremendous in really setting a high standard. The level of focus, commitment, and leadership you put on the table, it really gives us a good blueprint to model after. So I'm grateful for you guys. And to see the 12 people I just brought in, 7 of them have already duplicated. The other 5 are so new, but they're going to hit it too. But to see them having the success, that's what really charges me up. And, Terry, thanks for sharing this opportunity with me, sir. I tip my hat to you, sir.
Yeah.
By the way, I was talking to Jim earlier. That is the thing he said he was most proud of. So it's not just stage talk. Like, that was a private convo. He said exactly what he just said now. He is so stoked that he has people on the team plugged in, winning at a really high level, man. I love that. Sorry to cut you off, Maureen. Go for it. And then Marissa.
No, I was gonna say shout out to you for, the building with Bobby.
Thank you.
Oh,
So much fun.
Yeah, amazing.
Appreciate that.
Corporate really just leading from the front, just just a phenomenal leader. And Chris too, for the 1,000,000-meter row inspiration and showing us, just all of it, just the dedication, discipline to the team, to self-development, personal growth, leading and inspiring others, like walking the walk, talking the talk. That's what both of you do. And we're able to do that because you guys do that. So thank you.
Appreciate you. It's a true team effort, guys. That was probably my biggest takeaway from leading the national call on Friday. Our phones were blowing up. And I don't mean that it's recorded, so it is what it is now, but just other people, unfortunately, sellers saying they're not getting this. Like they don't have an upline. They don't have any of this other stuff. So it's all of us just coming together, doing what we're doing right now. This is special. This is rare. So make sure you're taking that message out to the field because it's really, really special. Marissa, go ahead.
Hey guys, I actually want to shout out Jim. He inadvertently reminded me that you never know who's in your backyard. I was communicating with a realtor and she was already in communication with Jim, and I, did what any upstanding person would do. I said, awesome, he's great. I can't wait for you to join our team. But Jim, thank you for the reminder that you never know who's playing in your area.
Hey, you're a class act, Marissa. I'm lucky to be in this arena with you, truly.
That's badass, Marissa. Like badass. Two great messages there, guys. That I can't leave. I mean, that's wow.
Wow.
The recognition to be high level, high minded, and have a great mindset on that. That she turned it as like not being a victim, but oh my gosh, why did I forget this person? That's not going to happen again. And then doing the right thing, having the conscious to echo that and say, oh my gosh, you made a great decision. You're in great hands. That's just badass. I don't have anything else to say. Like really awesome.
That's a true professional right there.
By the way, that wake-up call is a wake-up call for all of us. Part of leadership is learning from other people. It's going to happen to all of us, unfortunately. If it hasn't happened yet, it will. I can't sugarcoat that. So make sure you're getting out there. You're first to the punch. You got to be having conversations. That's a great one. Anyone else as we before I turn over the slides? Okay, cool. Let me grab that. Can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Awesome. Everybody got quiet. Okay, cool. National Power Leaderboard for our team. By the way, leaders, once again, please, every Monday morning, earlier the better for my wife who prepares these. If you could please go to the dashboard, sort by your team, because it only shows me access to my personal recruits, and I don't want to leave anyone off. But this is for the national leaderboard for the entire company, actually all states, because you can work anywhere now. We have Patrick and Dew and Jim are neck and neck. They're tied. If it's been anything like the last 2 months, it's going to be a race. Hopefully the rest of us can catch up and play in their world as well. But they both are tied for number 6 recruiters in the company. We got Lisa Bailey, myself, Mr. Christopher Hart, and Mitch Mallett all at 26th in the company.
Holy cow, I'm on the board.
You're on the board, baby. You're on the board. I love it.
That means
So
once I'm on, I don't come off.
That's the mindset. That's the gym mindset for sure. We have our national power hour call tonight. Really, really excited. We have Bobby Smith, who you guys hopefully saw on Friday. I say it every week. He paints the vision for what we're doing. Every time this man talks, I re-recruit myself. So make sure you have guests on. We have Charles Thompson, who will actually be leading the slide deck tonight. You guys have seen what he does, his stories and everything else. His just amazing presenter. And then we have Drew, and we also have Eric on board for tonight with some testimonials. Going to be a great event, powerhour.com, 5 p.m. Pacific for the people on the wrong coast, and then 8 p.m. Eastern for the rest of us. Make sure you guys are getting guests on. You know my stance. I know it's different than, in fact, Bobby, if you heard me say it, would kill me. Even if you don't have a guest, hop on. When you hear these stories, it re-recruits yourself. It lets you know why you're here. You could be one little nugget, one millimeter change from a drastic explosion in your business. They come from calls like this. They come from the power hour tonight at 8. By the way, challenge yourselves. Put that on repeat on your calendar, right? It's a big orange block. In fact, I'm going to change it to green because it should be money-making time. It is a big block. It's on repeat every single Monday. This way I don't forget it. You guys have the schedule here. You got to make sure. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I add something to your point? When you're on the call every week and you hear the same thing, and then you hear some different things, but when you hear the same things and then you're talking to people, suddenly it's just flowing out of your mouth. But if you're only on it once or twice and go, oh, I've heard that before, it doesn't flow out of your mouth anymore. It becomes the more you're on it, the more it's internal.
You're 100%, man. And I'll be transparent with you. 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I didn't have a guest on. I was really mad at myself. I didn't lean in as much as I should have, if I'm being honest, right? I didn't feel like getting on at 8. I've heard it. I can do the presentation. I've done it so many times. I didn't feel like it. I went ahead and put it on. I was multitasking. And sure enough, I forget who the speaker was. I found myself drifting, but I kept coming back. I get it. 8 o'clock. Many of you might not feel like it, especially if you don't have a guest. You're not getting paid for it. These are those reps, to Mitch's point. Make sure you're on there. Really, really important. You guys have seen the schedule. This is huge. I was supposed to share this on the Friday call. Thank goodness I didn't. I think our phones would have blown up even more. But this is the stuff that this team is doing. We're constantly adding to it. If you need a copy of this, reach out to your sponsor. Someone can throw it in the chat. Once again, my blueprint, my MO, every new seller, I send this to them day one. If you can get them to add this to their calendar, I'm not saying they got to be there every single session, every single week, but if you own someone's calendar, you have a good shot at owning them. Really, really important. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. I want to talk quickly about, and now Chris, please come off mute, any other tier twos. This is something we did in like 4 months ago, 5 months ago when we launched this. Some tips on uploading bills. Obviously, we have a lot of new team members now. So I want to take some time to slow down, to speed up. And then we will open this up to our traditional fireside chat where you guys can drive the show and take it wherever. But once again, come off mute for any of you that are running deals that have some, if I miss anything or you want to echo something, I would greatly appreciate it. So there is a summary tab. After we go through some of these bullets, guys and gals, I will show you exactly what it looks like on there. But this is going to be on your dashboard on power.com when you upload a bill, right after you tag a mentor, before you tag a mentor, you're going to be able to see it. Under the summary tab, please make sure the client's name and address are correct. This one sounds really basic. It is skipped a lot. I cannot tell you how many deals I get tagged on where it has a nickname. I had one the other day. It was Rocket. So I called her up and I said, is Rocket his full legal name? She goes, no, I think it was George. And I was like, okay, you got to go in there and change it. I'm a big believer about why. Like, I want to show you why we need to do this. How you input the information is how it populates the proposal. So when whoever the mentor is, Maureen, myself, Chris, to name a few, when they go in to close them, to qualify them, it pulls directly up from the proposal. If that is wrong, it is next to impossible to get them closed. They have to log out. They got to stop sharing. For those that have access, they can go into Solo and try to change it. You're going back and refreshing it. Most of the time, I'm having to cancel the meeting, come back and do another one. It is, I don't want to call it a nightmare, but why risk it? We're about to get it closed. So be anal, read it 5, 6, 7 times. Make sure you have it word for word. Michael, I'll come to you and then Maureen next.
Just real quick, I had one where the city was Pikesville and it came up Baltimore, but the bill and the automated system didn't match. Didn't make a difference, but I just qualifying as whether city name is critical too.
Yeah. So, and this is true story. I think it was like the second bill I uploaded when I first started, and I tagged a mentor, and I transposed 2 of the numbers and the addresses. So when he went down and he scrolled and he said, "Is this your house?" They were like, "No." So we had to reschedule, right? Because everything was put on by the engineering team on a completely different house that wasn't there. So it's very easy.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you
Marissa.
need my
Okay.
example?
Yeah.
I couldn't see who that was. Marissa, go for it.
Yeah, to Maureen's point, I actually have gotten in the habit now of before submitting for a proposal, I take a picture of the blue ping and I send it to them because I've had that happen before as well. But I wanted to ask, can I ask a question? Are we
Absolutely.
at that point? Okay, so when we're considering submitting the bill and we have a name on there, what happens if that person is not the homeowner? Like, is that something we should be in a habit of asking from the front? Because I've had that happen before where they're not the homeowner, like their parent owns it, but their name is on the bill kind of thing. And I know it gets tricky.
Chris, do you want to touch on that?
No. You can run with that one.
Yeah, you should. It's a rare one. I don't want to call it a one-off, but yeah, you want to make sure all decision makers are there. So yes. And this is a hard one for me, right? Because I love to go fast. I get that bill, I'm gone. Like I want to go. So I would ask if do you also own the home? Are you on title? If they are not, the person on title needs to be there, right? They actually own the home. I had one of these come up recently too, but I would say it's probably 1 out of 20, but that definitely is good language. I'm glad you brought that up for sure.
I just to speak into that, because this happened to me last week. And so it's a deal that I closed, but I just assumed, I made an assumption because it was a married couple that they were both on the title.
Oh, that's right.
And so it ended up not being, she was in bankruptcy and it was a late marriage. She's owned the home since 2008, married last year. And so now we're doing a quick.
When did you get that done?
Michael, please mute.
We're doing a quick claim deed and stuff. So she has no problem adding him to the title, but it was just, it was a lot of learning for me with how it works, but it was just a lot of more communication with, Sunlight Financial and the accounting team at Power to figure out the solution. But now I know moving forward, I will always ask, even if it's a married couple, who is on the title? Are you both on the title? Because the person that is on the title needs to be the person that is on the loan. They have a co-applicant, but they have to be on it. There's no way around it. So I did learn that. And that's true for all of the financing companies that we work with now. So
Correct.
You don't necessarily have to have their name added to the bill.
No,
Just
no,
have-
but to be the person, whoever is getting the loan needs to be on the title of the home, period. Now they can
Right.
have a co-applicant, but you cannot have, we were thinking they could write forms and give permission. No, title has to match loan application with a name, period.
on that note, I didn't make a bullet of this, so I think it's an important topic we haven't talked about in a while either. When you're running a mentor deal with me, I can only speak for myself. I do require that all decision makers are on that call. We've had a lot recently, and it's hard because I love every freaking one of you guys. When you guys get one in there, even if it's not perfect, we want to run it. You have no shot at getting it signed. Even when you talk to a guy and you ask him, and I had this happen recently, can we get all decision? But nope, I'm the man of the house to make a decision. We get this guy on a Zoom and I go to close. I got to talk to my wife. And I'm like, what do you mean? You told me you're the man of the house. Like, let's go run it. No, I would never make that decision without my wife. I mean, you can't argue with him. So please lean on that. Really, really important. Once again, one of my sticklers, and I won't run it. I hate to be direct with you guys. If they're not on a tablet or a computer, I will not run it. I will not run it. I don't care if you're Marissa and I love her. I won't. I have zero shot at closing it. We can't talk about a $50,000 project when you're trying to zoom in looking like this. They need to be stationary, right? These are a couple of those things where you really got to slow down and speed up. And this is not a one and done, my friends. You need to remind them like 6-7 times. I've had some really good mentees who I know did it and they still show up, right? It's people, we can't control it, but you got to do everything in your power to make sure that doesn't happen. Number 2, and this is something Maureen just touched on. I've had this happen twice now to me, 3 times actually. Make sure the pen, and this is under the summary tab, is the right house. I think it was Marissa where she actually takes a photo of it. I think that is a great idea. I would add some language of, hey, Marissa, I'm working on your proposal now. I'm so excited. Can you confirm I have the right house identified? You're letting them know what you're doing. You're working on something, right? It's that layer of guilt. They're more likely to show up when they know you spent hours doing something. And then they'll say yes or no. Once again, I was not able to close either one of those Zooms recently. I went ahead and ran with it, but it is so embarrassing, like so embarrassing. In fact, one of them, I make the same joke every time, and I've taught you. When I get to the proposal, I'll say, can you please confirm this is your house? And she goes, no, I cannot. And I was like, that's a good one. She goes, no, it's really not. I was like, huh? Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, everything is dead. You have no shot at doing it. And so that was a lesson learned. Chris.
Yeah, one of the things too about that blue pin is you can move it. And so when you do move it, please make sure that you hit the save button. Because if you just move it and don't hit the save button, it's going to go back to where it was. And so you think you might have saved it, even tier 3 mentors, you think you might have saved it, you go and request proposal, and next thing you know, they're mounting panels in somebody's backyard. So
Yep. Great point. Here, while he's talking to guys, this is the summary page. So when you go to your project, doesn't matter if you're tier 1 or tier 2 or 3, you're going to see the summary page. You can go in. It's one of Katie's deals. You can see she filled everything out correctly. This is where you add the address. This is where you'll see the pen. So Marissa's literally taking a photo like this. I would obviously zoom in and make it a lot closer so they can identify it. And then you would drag it and drop it. And then project actions over here is where you could save. Or I'm sorry, save. Obviously, I haven't changed anything, so it's not there. Dana, go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say, so, yeah, Aaron's absolutely right. And one of those, unfortunately, was my deal, but the house had been torn down and a new house had been built in the exact same spot. So the address was right, the pin was right, and the overview in the system was picking up the prior home. So it was ours, but gladly, that's the one who signed the contract, Aaron.
Yep. Oh, I know. And by the way, so for those, I challenge mentor, you got to run it because you have FaceTime. We just got to change the numbers. It's just going to end up being a two appointment close, which I hate. I like the one and done. But yeah, we end up getting it done. Marissa.
One other thing I do with that pin too, I don't zoom in too much because I like them to see the neighborhood and where it's at. Because I've had the instance where it's like plexes and it's like C1, C2, C3, C4.
Smart.
So being able to show a little bit of the neighborhood has helped confirm for me as well.
Really smart, really good tip. Hopefully everybody got that, guys, because that's one, like I said, you have no shot at getting it signed without it. Okay, site info tab. So the first one I just showed you a summary. Right next to that, to the right, is site info. We're going to spend a little bit more time here. You want to make sure you upload a clear, full copy of the bill. I cannot stress this enough, guys. Please, please, please. Once again, we want to get you paid. We get how excited you are. If it's not a full bill, we can't request it. It's that simple. If the top's cut off, it might not seem important to you. As many of you are tier 1, you just don't know yet, right? There's a saying, you don't know what you don't know. There's things when we have to request it, we need meter numbers, account numbers, utility numbers. There's so much information. If there's a front and back, upload both. It needs to be a full copy. Yes, it can be a picture from your phone. It needs to be legible, right? There are so many of these things that are cut off, and I feel awful going back to you because I know we work so hard to get bills. Make sure you get the correct thing. Look at it before you upload. If you're missing something, go back to them. And by the way, clients I know it's not you as the mentee, as the mentee, it's the client. They don't know. They don't know. They'll just take a picture of the graph, take a picture of what they owe. So you got to coach them, right? You got to lead them. We need a full copy, download it, back up, whatever you can do to get it up there. Please select the utility from the drop down. All you do is look at the bill and then select the utility. If you don't see the utility, it's a red flag. Reach out to your mentor ASAP. It could mean that we don't service that area. I will say, and this is another one of Dana's, we've been working hand in hand lately. We had one that was not on there. We got it approved in 2 weeks. I had another one. I think it was another one for Dana, actually. We got it approved in like 4 days. I can't promise that for everybody. Sometimes there's a reason they're not on there, but I was blown away. They were able to do that with that sort of speed. Maureen, go for it.
Yeah, just make sure that you look at the bill really, really carefully, because there are some utility companies I noticed don't just see a graph and assume it's the right graph. There are some I've seen actually where it looks like a graph, but it's actually that month. It's the days from that month, and you're still missing the other 11 months of the year for estimated annual usage. So make sure when you're looking at the bill, it's also a graph of annual usage as well.
Good point. Chris.
Yeah, and there's something important to understand about that too, guys, is that when we run a proposal, that graph, the importance of that graph is we are offsetting that previous 12 months worth of electric consumption behavior. So when we look at building out the right system, not just selling the many system, the right system comes off of that graph. So that graph is probably the most important information on that utility bill.
Yep. You know, we talk about the why behind it too, and we're trying to do that. I think it's important. I know Chris and I are Mitch, I'll come to you 1 second, are running back to back most days. If I had to put a number, 90% of the deals I'm tagged on, I cannot just go in and request. And it's because it's missing a lot of this stuff. So if you want those proposals, I get it. We're excited. I was there. Like you submit, tag the mentor, and you're sitting by your computer just waiting. You want to see it, right? We have no shot at doing it unless this legwork is done ahead of time. So if you want faster responses, you want those proposals back, please make sure you're and take a screenshot of this when we wrap up. I'll give you a heads up on that. Mitch, go for it.
I don't ask for a screenshot of their bill. I ask them when they go online to look at their bill, there's a PDF that they can download, which is the full bill, and it's everything. And I ask them to send me the PDF, and that's what I've been uploading, and they got everything. So there shouldn't be a problem if you do that.
That's the cleanest way for sure. Absolutely. Fill in the roof information. This is probably the most skipped step. I'm not sure if it is for Chris, but it 1000% is for me. This is where it's going to ask the age of the roof. I get it. A lot of these people you don't know. It could have come from an ambassador, some of you met on Facebook. I understand it. Ask them. If you're not comfortable asking them, please go to Zillow. It's the first time I'll ever recommend a client go to Zillow as a real estate professional, but go there. If that roof was repaired, replaced in the last 10 years, you better believe an agent's going to market it. So it's a great way. You'll see it. It'll say 2015, brand new 30-year roof, right? Then you don't have to bother the client. Either one of those needs to get done. We need to know the age of the roof. This is another one of those that will kill the deal. Once again, I can't speak for everyone. If someone needs a new roof, I love to request that roof estimate prior to us sitting down so I can close the whole deal. Otherwise, I'm hopping on that Zoom. They tell us the age of the roof. We have no shot at closing it because now I got to go back to to headquarters, get another roof estimate, right? So the more info we get on the front end, just the easier it makes everything. So either ask them for the age and the type or go to Zillow and do it. Maybe even a combination of both. Also, select the mounting preference. 90% of the time, it's going to be a roof mount. If you know it needs to be a ground mount, they said that, make sure you select that there. That also is a big tip that will help all of us. If you guys could take a screenshot of this, any mentors on the team that already have it saved on their phone, if you could throw it in the chat. I'd like to see everybody go ahead and add this language, please. We're doing it for you, but this will speed it up. I want to groom you guys to be future tier 2s and future tier 3s. And so the language reads, please see usage from electric bill, uploaded file and copy usage to Solo proposal. Please max fit each roof plane, horizontal and vertical panels where necessary, 1 foot setbacks. This is still not perfect, but this has been a big tip that we picked up in one of our masterminds that really helps us most of the time get some version of a max panel layout. I see Chris smirking because he knows it's not always perfect, but this definitely helps. So please add it. Maureen, is your hand up from before? Okay.
Yeah.
No
The other,
worries.
is there a standard, like they're not even gonna, no matter what, if the roof is over a certain age, or is are there times where the roof's a little bit older, but it is in such great condition that once the site survey is done in person, there's still a go ahead with the installation?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think that threshold's in that like 10 to 15, 10 to 12
Okay.
range, depending on the location of it, right? If it's in sunny Miami getting beat up, it might not be. If they're not open to a roof proposal, they think it's in good enough shape, I'm going to allow the site survey to determine that, and then we'll take it from there. Most of the time, someone knows that the roof is shoddy, guys. They just do. And so once again, I rather request it. They have done, I know, hopefully all of you guys were in the masterclass on Wednesday. What they've done to this roofing department, it's come a long way in the last 6 months. Chris and I could tell you stories when they were trying to launch this thing. It was awful. I've had 2 in the last week that came back inside of 3 days. Can't guarantee it for everybody, but man, oh man, is that incredible. I've also had all of ours, knock on wood, be very competitive. I have not lost one yet. I haven't done a ton of them, but they're doing a great job. The proposals are coming back clean. They're really working hard on that department. Use handoff notes for anything. So there's 2 note sections, guys. The project notes, that goes to the person designing the proposal. That's where you use the language above. People get that confused. Handoff notes is what the mentor is going to check. So that's where you would say, I met this lead on Facebook. They're adamant about a ground mount. They're getting 4 of their estimates. They really like this type of panel. Anything else you know about them that you think is pertinent for the mentor, that's a great section to add it. All of the mentors on this team are checking that section. That is all I have for this. I'd love to open it up to some Q&A. It can be centered on here first, and then we'll open it up to just the general, anything you guys need help or masterminding about. James, go for it. I'll come back to you in 1 second, Aaron.
Yeah, actually, the roofing stuff is very pertinent. I just ran into a delay on one of my projects that the guy said, well, I'm going to replace my roof anyway. And he signed up for the contract. So he had it replaced, but he decided because old house, terrible insulation, and a dormer type roof, he had them spray foam. They actually removed all the plywood panels and spray foamed everything. Nice job. But he'd already got his proposal back and they eliminated roof vents. We couldn't fit as many panels as we specified. And we want more, so we put it back in. They're going to have to come back out for another site survey and decide, with these couple of vents that are removed, can we add 2 more, 3 more, 4 more, or whatever? But unexpected consequence of that. I thought it was just going to be a roof replacement and spray in foam. Nice clean start, but that had to do with the setback also, because we filled up too much of the roof and Arlington County came through and said, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it's more of a mentor call. Obviously, you're doing a lot of deals, so that's why it's coming up. Patrick and I had run into this in the last month from throwing up a lot of glass. We're not being nearly as aggressive trying to fill every part of that roof because it is getting kicked back. Yeah. So we are doing it within reason. So there have been a few where we thought, let's have the site survey come out and tell us we can add it. I'd rather do an addition than a takeaway. So we have had to tighten that up a little bit. One other announcement, I'll come to you, Aaron, next. From the masterclass, and guys, and gals, please, the first Wednesday of every month, make sure you're blocking it. If you got to call in sick that day for work, it is worth it. The information that they share on these calls it's fire. One of the biggest ones that I want to make sure you all are aware of, you cannot request a roofing proposal, even for your own deal, if you have not done the roofing certification class. Can't. And I know, even though I've said it now 1,000 times, not 1,000, a dozen times, it's going to happen. Someone's going to have one in a personal house, whatever. You're not able to do it. You're going to have to go tag a mentor. You could be tier 2. It doesn't matter, guys. They're not going to bend on that. It's a really important class. It's a la carte. You can piece it together, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, just knock it out. Not nearly as bad as tier 2, by the way. I think I was able to finish in about an hour. Aaron, go for
it. Hey guys, sorry, I'm just unmute myself. Yeah, so 2 things. One is a comment, and then 2 is like a 2-part question. So the first comment that I have is, if like for the people who you were mentioning earlier, you struggle to get the utility bill and you're struggling to get the roofing questions, and you may be, curious if you should ask the homeowner these questions. Every single time you ask them for something, you're deepening the buy-in that they have with you specifically as a salesperson, right? So like, not only like, I'll sometimes go as far as to be like, hey, why don't you just give me your username and password so I can log in? If they give me their username and password when it comes to pre-qual time, they're not going to balk at all about giving me the last 4 of their social, right? Because they already trust me. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and ask people for the username and password, but I'm using it as an example. It deepens and really attaches them to you as a fiduciary, as someone that they trust, right? So it's important to have all those conversations, because the more they give you, the more buy-in that they have when it comes time to make a decision. So that's just a comment. The question that I have is a 2-part question regarding the roof. So most of the solar that I sell is here locally in Arizona. Now, when you guys do a roof for power for a customer, do they receive a 30% tax credit? Is that rolled into the same loan? And are they capturing the 30% credit for the addition that the roof is coming from that financing? That's kind of the first part of the question. The second part of the question is can we refer them to one of our roofers who will allow them to file an insurance claim, which essentially they pay their small deductible to get a new roof, which allows them to, when they get the solar loan, they're getting a smaller loan, a more, a better payment, right? Because they're not rolling a new roof into that payment. But are we allowed to do that with power, essentially refer them to our roofing guy who's going to help them file the insurance claim? It does prolong the sale of the solar, but it ultimately does save the customer more money. So what happens in a scenario like that?
First and foremost, you're awesome. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Great freaking tip. I think Jim was talking about you earlier to me. Is that correct, Jim? Yeah, I have a feeling.
Yeah. You guys
anyway.
might want to just call me AP, because the Aaron and Aaron thing might get a little confusing, but feel free.
No, I'll take it, man. I'm going to use you because you drop a nugget. They're going to think it was mine. I'm going to co-sign everything he just did. Yeah, no, in all seriousness, great tips on asking for the more information. You're 100% right, man. Like 100% right. I saw a lot of heads from salespeople going like this. Regarding the roof, yes, when we request a proposal, it is the whole invoice is sent over to the CPA. So anything on that invoice is going to be included in the 30%. I'm not a CPA, so I will tell you, we've had a couple, not a couple, maybe 1 or 2 people say that their CPA said if they're only putting panels on the front and they had to replace the front roof and the back roof, they can only write off the portion that actually had panels on it. Every CPA I personally have talked about said, dude, no one's nitpicking like that. If it's all on one invoice, you're good to rock. So that's a huge selling point. Obviously you have 0 out of pocket for that. So another big one, it's all rolled in and no cash down. In terms of the insurance, they don't actually handle that. The way I've been running it is I get the deal signed because permitting right now is our biggest holdup. They then can take it up with the insurance. If we need to push out install, we can do that later. I think they'll allow you to push it out like 6 months after permitting or something crazy like that. So that's how I've been doing it, getting the deal done, have them go through insurance. If they can't, we'll go back and do a change order, add the roof proposal through us. That makes sense?
Okay. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you for answering that.
It's a really good program, man. They're killing it. Jim, go for it, sir.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. How are you confirming with your clients the 200 amp panel?
Anyone want to touch that? Chris?
I've had them take a photo and send it to me.
Yeah, that's the best way that I recommend to people. I mean, you can do one of 2 things. Ask them how familiar are they with their main panel, their electrical panel. And when I ask them, I say, hey, do you happen to know what the amperage is on your main panel. Most of the time they'll say no. I'll say, okay, do you know where to look? And I'll orient them in. If they're kind of like, well, if they're hemming and hawing, I say, all right, just do me a favor, open the door, take a picture of the panel. Here's where you should see. You should see one switch. It's either at the top or the bottom. And then all the other switches are in, 2 rows. I need a clear picture of that one switch. So usually people have been very good about it. Some people have just taken a picture of the whole panel when you open the door, and then you can just zoom in and look at it.
Really good tips. I've had a couple where the client wasn't home. It was an investment property. They just didn't know. We still run it. As mentors, we really lean on, hey, once we actually do a site survey, there are some things like that could come up, and we'll address it once we know more, and you move on. Michael, go for it.
Simon?
Yeah, sorry, on that topic?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
So one thing that I do if I can't get the picture, I also do this to find the age of the roof. There is a appraisal property website for the county that I live in. So I can jump on there and I can see like when the house was built, when the roof was updated and things like that. And I will see if there has been any electrical paneling updates since the build of the house. And depending on when the house was built, then I'll reach out to the homeowner and ask them for a picture. Cause I know it's like anything older than like 2004 or something like that, it's usually a lesser grade than 200.
Love it. Love it. I actually thought the panel was gonna be more of an issue than it was. It's rarely come up so far, knock on wood. Michael.
So sorry to move around. My wife needs some help there for a second. So piggybacking on the electrical panel, do we breach the topic here of an EV charger or adding a pool as part of this part of the conversation?
Yep, all the mentors are doing that. Once we get on the actual Zoom call with them, going over
That's
it.
an adder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but regarding the panel, if we know that's something that's going to be coming in, should we be prepared for that? Or that, as you just said, it's an adder, don't worry about it now.
If we were able to get the photo, like through the tips that they just gave, then yeah, you're adding it as an adder before you even meet. If they don't know, like I've had quite a few, they just don't know, they weren't home, they weren't able to check, whatever the reason was. I just discussed there's certain things. Once we do a site survey, this is more of a draft. Let's get our crew out there and really take a look at it, and then we're going from there.
If you know ahead of time that there's things that they want to consider, any additional adders like battery storage or EV charger, put that in the project handoff notes.
So can I talk about EV chargers for a second? Because I've used this as a sales tool before in the past. So right now, I think roughly 3% of Americans drive electric vehicles. And in the next 10 years is projected that number is going to jump up to about 50%. So what we do for certain homeowners that we know live in pretty nice, decent homes, and I don't know, you might have to verify this with me. Our EV charger adder is $1,000. It's a $1,000 adder. We just include it in almost every project, and we say we're including it, whether they have an EV or not, because the likelihood of them getting an EV in the next 10 years is about 50%. Additionally, it helps with resale value. If they decide they ever want to sell their home, in the next 5 to 10 years, the new homeowner is going to have a gas pump in their garage powered by their solar. So it kind of overcomes 2 objections that may come up. Well, what if I want to sell my home? How do I get the value from it? The EV charger is a very small, cost-efficient adder that I've used to help sell more deals, because I'll just throw it in there. I say, hey, we're gonna add that in anyways. And $1,000 over, a 25-year 2.99 loan is like, well, you'll see the payment go up $10 or $15 or something like that, but it's a really valuable thing for a lot of residents, at least that I've dealt with. So
I love that.
It's a tool. Yeah.
Yeah. Our lowest cost one, the 240 volt, is 1,200. And then the 40 amp, the big one, the supercharger, is 2,400, I believe. So still very close.
I think that, yeah, we were doing like Solar Edge. The Solar Edge one was about 1,000, but regardless, when you amortize it out over 25 years, and you think of the value that the homeowner's getting just by having it, it's pretty powerful. Now we're eliminating your utility bill, and we're eliminating your need to go pay for gas.
I love it. Are you phrasing that in a way to where they think it's just included?
Well, I tell them I include it in there, and I explain that this is, the cost for it. But when you amortize it out, I'll show them. And this is me. I can modify my proposals in real time through Solo. So like, I'll show them, if I take it off, here's what your payment looks like. And it might drop $3 or $4 again, because it's amortized out through such a long period of time. It's like, think about it, for additional $4 a month, you and your friends and everybody else for, God knows how long, are gonna not have to pay for gas. You know, you're gonna have a fuel pump in your garage. So to me, some of those smaller adders, they help with the sale, because if they're like, I might want to sell, well, there's a 50% chance that person in the next 10 years is going to have an electric vehicle. You know,
I think it's genius.
and then
man.
we start talking about two-way batteries, but that's another conversation for another day. But yeah.
Really good nugget, man. Mitch, Mr. Malcolm, you're next.
Yeah. Well, let me just comment, because I drive a Tesla and I have solar on my roof, and so I drive on sunshine. And I have one of my neighbors whose kids, they got grown kids in their 30s. They came to visit and they wanted to know if they could use my charger. And I said, well, sure, but I'm going to charge you $20 every time you charge your car, because right now, when I put it in, I don't have enough solar to cover my own. But if they have family and friends that are going to come visit or whatever, and they have an electric car, that makes it really convenient. But I also want to talk about the roof, because in Florida here, I have a lot of experience with doing roofs, and I get a lot of jobs. You're getting a roof done, it's time to talk about solar. And well, I don't know if there's room on our proposals. My other company, I had the ability to write must replace roof prior to solar installation. But either way, it just reinforces the fact that the roof is required to put a new solar system on. It becomes part of the solar prep, and therefore it's part of the 30% tax credit. And
Good
so
stuff.
if you know people are gonna, or man, I need to get a new roof for whatever reason, you need to really, hey, we need to talk. And if they're getting it through insurance, well, it's you can put the whole thing together, and then they could show the insurance payment as a down payment. And that's a question I have, which I haven't run across. So if we have a proposal out there and let's say it's a $50,000 proposal and they want to put 20,000 down. So we don't add the dealer fees to their down payment, just on what's remaining. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
So they could do that. And then it looks like it's all combined as one.
Correct.
Okay. Just
Good
wanted to say
stuff.
that.
Yeah, good stuff. Mr. Malcolm.
Yeah, earlier Chris had mentioned extra into what?
You're breaking up real bad on my end. I'm not sure if it's for anyone else.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris had mentioned that extra stuff needs to be put into something. What was that called?
An adder. You don't need to worry about that. Your mentor will handle that.
Yep.
I think you might have been referring to the phrasing that you put in there to get the 100% coverage.
That's in the chat box.
Yep, Chris put it in there.
I put that in the chat box. That goes in the proposal notes, not in the handoff notes.
Correct. Terry.
Yeah, I want to see if AP can tell us about Property Radar. You posted it in the chat, so.
Oh, yeah. I'll post some links in as I find them applicable, but Property Radar, it's typically been used in real estate a lot. It allows you to pull, well, pretty much anything. It's kind of scary, actually. I could type in any one of your names and find out if you own a home, where you live, what mortgage you have, who your lender is, what your rate is, when you financed last, what the value is of your home. And they have APIs that pull. So realtors use it a lot for farming and direct mail campaigns and things like that. But for us as solar pros, we can use it essentially to reverse look up. Let's say we have a lead that comes in, but they give us a bogus number. We can type in their name and find their address, find their phone number. It gives us almost an overkill of amount of information. The only downfall with it is that there is a cost associated with it. I think it's like $120 a month, but it allows you to export up to 10,000 records a month. Now, from a marketing standpoint, this can be used in a lot of really meaningful ways. What I like to do is if I know that there's an area, like I might target a neighborhood based on the age of their roof or based on the age of their air conditioners. If I know it's an HOA, they've got 20-year-old ACs and all these people are financing new ACs. Well, now they have a utility bill and they have a financed AC bill. Well, let's wrap all those into one 25-year, awesome Good Leap loan, right? So it provides me as a marketer with some of the intelligence that I need to make more like tactical marketing decisions. If you know how to use that data, it's pretty tricked out if you've got the budget for doing stuff like that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sounds like next Monday's class.
Hey, Peace, time to step up. James.
Yeah, I can do that.
You calling me, Aaron?
I did, sir.
Yeah, so mine's a little bit indirect. It's an interesting problem that I have two referrals that came from an architectural design firm that's working on additions for a house. And they were interested in solar. So I've talked to both of them. And, we can fit stuff on their roof right now, but I haven't been able to get a firm answer on how the addition was going to fit onto the back of the house, right? So are they going to do like a T, with a dormer? And if we go ahead and install solar on them now, it might have to be partly or completely disassembled on the back of the house, right? So I just got to be persistent, I guess, is all I'm saying. It's an interesting thing. I really want to sell it to them, but I don't want to mess them up, right? And have them have to pay more and unassemble it. And so it's something to consider when you're talking to a homeowner. Are you planning an addition in the near future? Right. And it's going to change maybe the pattern on your roof, particularly in Arlington and areas where they're so picky about offset. Just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point.
I don't want to hijack. I'm sorry. You're bringing up a lot of points too. Like when I talk, I want to go back to the EV charger because I ask the homeowners usually like, hey, do you have any plans on getting a new car in the next 10 years? This totally brings up the whole EV thing again. Do you have a pool? Do you have any idea about installing a pool? I would hate to sell them a solar system where the offset isn't enough that's going to meet the demand as long as their warranty is. So in some cases, and this is why the max fit's important because you can add, an additional 5 kW because you're saying, hey, listen, if you think that you are going to have more kids, you're going to consume more power, you're going to install a hot tub, you might buy a Tesla or one of the Ford cars. I mean, we need to consider that when designing their system because, of course they can add on in the future, but why not give you everything you need now? And if they benefit from net metering, it's just a bonus. So these are conversations that I like to have with people. What are you planning on doing in the future? And let's make sure we're building you a system that is really going to, fulfill your needs.
Freaking love it, man. Yeah. You're going to fit right in with the team, brother. Really excited to learn and grow from you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Aaron. Aaron 2.0.
Keep saying Aaron. I love it. I'm going to ride his coattails.
I just put an article that I think might help some of you already doing tier 2, tier 3, and then tier 1s to learn about ways that you can calculate how many additional panels you would need if they do have an EV. Because that was a question I was going to ask you, Aaron, if you had a resource that, you could share with us that to properly calculate just for additional panels added if they already have an EV or they're wanting to get one in the next few years when designing the system.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, that's a fantastic link. And really, if you do some research on this whole EV stuff, people aren't, these massive companies aren't manufacturing regular combustion engines anymore. It's in their forecast to manufacture electric vehicles. And I don't remember the name of the gentleman earlier who says he had a Tesla, but I feel like it's also Tesla owners' responsibility to power their cars from solar. If all these EVs come out and we're all taking all this demand on the grid on these inefficient, energy sources, we're part of the problem.
Yeah.
So to me, everyone who owns a Tesla should be powering it off of solar. It's a no freaking brainer. And that's just the responsible thing to do.
Does it not?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So That's all. I'm off my
Hey,
soapbox.
Maureen, a quick one there with the cars and stuff. So just in general right now, you don't want to start the conversation with the clients. Ask them how much they typically drive per month. So about EV right now, you're 34 kilowatts per 100 miles. It helps them make that calculation.
34.
Kind of, calculate it in. Yeah, 34 is kind of like that average right now, anywhere between like 32 so per 100 miles driven. So then, find out how many miles that they're driven every single month and calculate that in there for you.
So are you translating that then to annual?
Yeah, you can look at your annual numbers. So I usually create it for that, figure out what their annual drive is, and then build that into the full size of the whole system, how much is production's happening and stuff.
So if it was 34 times 100, it would be 340.
No, per 100 miles, 34.
Right, that's what I meant. I'm sorry, 34 per 100. So
Yes.
then it would be, in essence, 340 times 1,000. Yeah. So if it was 12,000, it would be 340 times 12. Okay.
Love it. You never know where these calls are going to go. I freaking love it. Mitch, you've had your hand up for a minute. Go for it.
Yeah, I got two of my sellers on the call. One's Chuck Dade from New Bedford, Massachusetts, which is the home of Moby Dick, and Ray Tripp, who's from Salt Lake City, Utah. And I think this is Ray Tripp's first time on the call, even though they've both been signed up for a while. I just wanted to introduce them.
Awesome. Welcome. Michael.
Moby Dick.
Can't make this stuff up.
So how about new construction, right? Where there is no visual site survey. I just because my business side, what do? Do we hire drone guys to take pictures of stuff, or what do we do about that?
I'm not tracking with you. Can you say it again?
New construction where there's no roof, no visuals, right? No Google Earth shots, nothing's out there yet.
Upload a picture of the plans of what it's going to look like, the rendering, whatever they have, and we can still run it. I'm doing one of those now.
Okay.
AP, what are you using for your rules of thumb for lack of, even with homes that may not have any sort of history?
So same situation, plans, inside of Solo, you can upload the plans, they can build that out. The design team there usually is really responsive. There's two ways you can submit proposals, guys, too. I don't know if we've talked about that, and I don't know if that's available in our system. There's a real time, which they cost a little bit more, but they literally like designing them right in front of you. So if you're working with whether it's the builder or the homeowner, you can submit the plans right there, and they can create a design from that. I try to stay away from new builds personally, but I want the deals that are going through right away, not 2 years from now, but whatever, we'll take whatever we can get. But yeah, that's how we do it through Solo. I haven't submitted anything through the power system yet though, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Slowly transitioning over.
You using any sort of rule of thumb on non-new construction, homes that are already, let's say 5-8 years old, someone just moved into, only have about 2 months worth of electric bills?
It's a great question.
Data.
Yeah. So first I asked them for the home inspection report. The home inspection report is gold. If you need any information and they've moved in the last couple of years, there's a possibility in their inbox they have a home inspection report. This is going to tell you about the condition of the roof. It's going to tell you about the type of AC units they have, all the fun little adders that we get to add on there that to the homeowner's benefit, they can get replaced. Their warranties start all over again by choosing to go solar. So solar is a solution to solving a lot of energy upgrade problems that they might have in the home. So get the home inspection report if you can. Ask them for all these things. Like what I was saying earlier, each time they submit something, they're buying into you even more. So home inspection report, utility bill, ask them for pictures of their panel. And I don't know about you guys, but we have to take pictures of the panels close up and further away because the company installer needs to see where the inverters are going to go. So we try to do that. Now, all of my sales are done in person and they're all done locally here in Arizona. So I'm hoping to learn a lot from you guys about selling virtually in other states, because that's not been my world. You know, it's very hands-on, building a lot of rapport. So it's a bit of a different sales cycle, but I'm excited to learn that with you guys. But did that answer your question?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I know there's some rules of thumbs out there, like 4, 5, 6 times multiplier with pertaining to square footage, size of the family, potential, upfits of electricity. For instance, if they have, let's say, a 2,000 square foot house, there's 5 of them, they homeschool, they're going to be home more often, use a 6 times multiplier for kind of a starting point of what their potential electric needs would be.
So yeah, personally, I have somebody like you guys that has been, my advisor, my mentor, who would help me size that up. So just like, I have a mentor like everyone on this call, you guys are mentoring them, and now I get to be mentored by you. So I would probably refer to someone who's been in the business a little longer. I've only been selling solar for about a year now.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Can I
job.
chime in?
Yeah, 1 second. By the way, guys, he dropped a lot of bombs on this call. You can see the chat. So I appreciate that, Aaron. A lot of this might go over. I know some of it's going over my head. I can't write fast enough. That's why we record these. So if you have a team, you need to rewatch this. This is one of those special ones. One thing he did say, and then I'll go to whoever just raised their hand or said something. We do have 2 options when requesting proposals for tier 2 and tier 3. It's immediate, or I think it's called next day. I've done next day once, and when it says next day, it means next day, not a few hours. So everybody request immediate unless you're not trying to run it for a while. I think I did it. It was for Mitch actually too, which sucked. So yeah, definitely push immediate. And to his point, it does come back most of the time inside of 30 minutes. They are really, really good at it. Sorry, whoever came off mute. I didn't see the name.
That's okay. It was me. I actually have I found a video by Jonathan Bernasso that talks about how to calculate a new system. So I just dropped the link in the chat. There's also 2 images that I have saved in my boards that can I send to you or Chris? Because I don't know how to get it out to everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna just do a brief walkthrough on how to design a.
It was playing. I was like, who is that?
That was
we got time for one more. We all sat there listening. We thought it was gonna be another AP nugget. Say it again.
I heard Chris, but his lips weren't moving.
Yeah, I know.
That was Bernasso.
I think it was Jonathan though, but yeah. Okay, we got time for one more. Anybody else?
Hi, Aaron. I have one. Well, AP already asked it about the roof. What I actually did on one of the proposals that I just submitted, I requested a proposal from a local company so that I can have 2 options for my customer. And I uploaded it to assets. I know that that at that point, when you get it from the outside, they have to pay cash unless they do separate financing, right? Do you follow me?
I think so. Say it one more time.
Yeah, like I requested a solar proposal from the outside, like from a local company.
Yep.
For the customer, because I want to show the customer 2 options. I already requested the one from Power so that they can see the difference and they can see the options that they have, whether they want to do it with us or they want to do it separate, just to give them 2 options. As far as the roof goes.
Yeah, she had said solar, but she's talking about a roof.
Okay, whew, my heart was stopping. I was gonna say I never ever introduced another solar person to the convo, but yeah, I think that's smart. Yeah,
So
I mean, whatever you can do to build.
Yes, I added it to the assets. So the other thing that I add to assets is the main panel. I go and take pictures right away. So that way we can have as much information as we can, so that when it's presented to the customer, it's pretty much laid out on the table, like everything is there, because it's really hard to get them back on the Zoom. Like, so I try to get all the information from all different areas. I even told the client about the battery option. So I went ahead and added the roof, the battery, things that the mentor is gonna ask. So that way he knows already what the customer's looking for. But
Love it.
I already took care of all that for when it's presented.
Love it. Yeah, as much legwork as you guys can do in the front. And I think Aaron AP did a great job demonstrating that. I'll go ahead and close it down. You know, one of my biggest takeaways from today, and I usually don't end it in a recap, but how much information that Aaron's collecting. And so I can tell you right now, as a closer, I'm going to be using that as my selling point, guys. I did this in real estate. I don't know why I didn't think of doing it here. So I applaud you, Aaron, for bringing that up. I'm going to ask him, you know, if I can't get it closed right then, well, out of curiosity, how many other solar pros asked for a copy of your home inspection? Right. You know the answer. I've never heard a single other person even mention that. Like that right there just completely separated us. How many other solar pros did their homework? Like, no, like, anyway, that's lights out, man. Like lights out. One last favor I want to bring up, and then we'll shut it down, guys. I'll make sure I get the replay out to everybody in the next few hours. I want us to really, 10x, 1000x, whatever, our recognition. We were doing such a good freaking job on this on the Solar Icons Messenger page. Obviously, we do it on the public facing, but on our pages. One trend that I have seen, I just got to bring it up, right? It's part of being a leader, is having tough conversations. Is I'm starting to see a trend where we're only recognizing our own inner teams. This is bigger than that, guys. We are building something so special here, a culture of recognition and just loving on each other. That please, I'm not asking for every single person, but treat someone, announcing their new seller, treat it like it was yours. It was someone in your team. It's the law of reciprocity, whatever you believe in, God, they're going to give it back to you. I think it's awful when, especially, I'll be selfish. I tell everybody about that group, how special everyone is. When I'm going to add you, everyone's going to say hi, and then it's one heart, right? It's just, it's not who we are. I don't think it's that great first impression that we're all so good. I hate to end on a negative, but I know we can do better on that. I'll do better personally, but let's really jump in there, really love on everybody, show respect, and just try to lift as many people up. I think that's truly what sets this team apart from every other organization. Anyway, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:00, powerhour.com. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Aaron.
That was AP, by the way.